I want you to think about the man who made you feel the most alive. Not the nicest one, not the one your friends liked, the one who made your whole body switch on the second his name lit up your screen. Now I want you to be honest with yourself about something. Did he make you feel safe? Because for a lot of us, those two things have never once happened in the same relationship. And we've spent years assuming that's just what love is. This beautiful, exhausting thing that keeps you up at 3 a.m, rereading a message that has 9 words in it. It isn't. And I need you to hear this before we go any further, because it changes everything about how you read your own life. What you've been calling chemistry might not be chemistry at all. It might be your nervous system sounding an alarm, and your mind reaching for the most romantic explanation it can find. If you've ever felt electric with someone who was terrible for you, and then sat across from someone kind and consistent and felt absolutely nothing, you're not broken. You're not sabotaging yourself. You're not one of those women who just likes the bad ones. You have a body that learned something a long time ago, and it's been running on that lesson ever since without asking your permission. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to walk you through exactly what's happening inside you when you feel that pull. Not vaguely, mechanically. What your body is producing, what your brain is doing with it, and why the whole thing feels so much like destiny that arguing with it seems almost rude. And then I'm going to describe what the real thing actually feels like. Because I think the reason so many of us keep going back to the chaos isn't that we love the chaos. It's that nobody ever told us what to look for instead. You can't move toward a feeling you've never been given words for. Let's start with your body, because that's where this begins, long before any of it reaches your thoughts. In the early 70s, 2 psychologists ran a study that has quietly explained more heartbreak than almost anything else in the field. They had men cross one of 2 bridges. One was solid, wide, low to the ground. The other was a narrow suspension bridge, swaying, terrifying, high above a canyon. On the other side, the same woman met each of them, asked a few questions, and gave them her number in case they wanted to hear about the results. The men from the scary bridge called her far more often. Same woman, same conversation. The only difference was what their bodies were doing when they met her. Their hearts were pounding because of the drop. But your brain doesn't get a little label with each sensation telling you where it came from. It gets the raw data, racing heart, shallow breath, heightened focus, and it goes looking for a story that fits. And when there's an attractive person standing right in front of you, that's an extremely available story. So the fear got read as attraction. That's it. That's the whole mechanism. Psychologists call it misattribution of arousal, and once you see it, you can't unsee it in your own dating history. Because think about what your body is doing when a man is inconsistent with you. Your heart rate is up. You're checking your phone every 4 minutes and pretending you're not. You can't concentrate at work. You're rereading his last message, trying to figure out whether sure means he's annoyed. You feel this hum under your skin all day, and the second he finally replies, something floods through you that feels like relief and joy and euphoria all at once. That's not butterflies, love. That's hypervigilance. That's your body doing threat detection on a man. And the flood you feel when he finally answers is your alarm system standing down. But it feels incredible. It feels like the most intense thing you've ever experienced, because chemically, it kind of is. Cortisol and adrenaline are up because you're under stress. Dopamine spikes when the uncertainty resolves. And that cocktail, stress plus reward, over and over, produces a state your mind has exactly one word for. You call it falling in love. Your body would call it something closer to bracing for impact. And here's where it gets sharper. Because it isn't just that uncertainty gets mistaken for passion. It's that uncertainty is the strongest bonding agent we know of. If I gave you a reward every single time you did something, you'd learn the pattern and get a bit bored with it. But if I gave you a reward only sometimes, unpredictably, no pattern you could work out, you would not be able to stop. That's intermittent reinforcement, and it's the reason slot machines exist. Not because people love losing. Because maybe is more compelling to the human brain than yes. A man who texts you back within the hour every day is a machine that always pays out. A man who's electric on Tuesday, disappears Wednesday through Friday, then sends you something at midnight on Saturday that makes your stomach drop. That man is a slot machine. And you're not addicted to him. You're addicted to the pull of the lever, to the not knowing, to the moment before the screen resolves. I want you to notice something about how you talk about him too. When you tell your friends about the good version of him, notice how often you're describing something he did once. That night he opened up about his dad, that trip, that thing he said. You've been living on one payout for 11 weeks. That's not the relationship. That's the last time the machine paid out, and you've been feeding it ever since, waiting to get back to it. And every time he goes quiet and comes back, the bond gets stronger, not weaker. That's the part nobody warns you about. You'd think the disappearing would put you off. Instead, it deepens the hook, because the relief of his return is more chemically powerful than any amount of steady warmth could ever be. Then there's the part of this that I think is the hardest to let go of, because it's the most romantic story we tell ourselves. That feeling of instant connection, the one where you meet him and within 20 minutes, something in your chest goes, "Oh, there you are," like you already knew him, like some part of your life just clicked into a slot you didn't know was empty. I know how sacred that feeling is. I'm not going to be careless with it. But I do need to tell you what it usually is. That's not recognition of a soulmate. That's recognition of a pattern. Your nervous system learned what love feels like very early, before you had any language to evaluate it. If love in your house was something you had to earn, monitor, stay alert for, if attention came in bursts and then withdrew, if you learned to read a room by the sound of someone's footsteps, then that dynamic got wired in as home. Not as good, as familiar. And your body cannot tell those two things apart, because it was never designed to. Familiar meant survivable. That was enough. So when you meet a man who is emotionally unavailable in a way that is intimately, specifically recognizable to you, you don't experience it as a warning. You experience it as chemistry. Because your system just went, "Oh, I know this song. I know all the words. I know exactly what to do here." That's why the connection feels instant. There was no learning curve. You already had the map. And the tragedy of it is that healthy love almost never feels like that at the start. Healthy love feels like meeting someone, like being interested, like a gradual, slightly awkward unfolding where you're not entirely sure yet. There's no thunderclap, because nothing old is being reactivated, nothing is being recognized. You're just at dinner with someone nice. Which brings me to the thing you might be most ashamed of, the thing you don't say out loud, even to your closest friend. The good ones bore you. He texts back. He says what he means. He says he'll call at 7 and calls at 7. And you sit there with your phone face up on the table because you don't feel the need to keep checking it. And you think, what is wrong with me? Why don't I feel anything? Nothing is wrong with you. Here's what's happening. Attraction, for you, has been running on activation. The spark you're used to is the spark of a threat being detected and then temporarily resolved. When a man is consistent, there's no threat. No threat, no activation. No activation, no spark. You're not experiencing an absence of chemistry. You're experiencing an absence of danger. And because you've never had a name for the difference, you've been reading calm as boring and safety as flat, and walking away from good men with a story about how there just wasn't a spark. Please sit with that for a second. You have been using your anxiety as a compass, and a compass that points toward whatever activates you will take you, every time, to the man least capable of loving you well. I'm not telling you this to make you feel foolish. You didn't choose this. You inherited it, and then the world handed you 1,000 films and songs confirming that real love should feel like you're losing your mind. Every love story you were raised on told you that obstacles are what make it romantic, that if he's difficult, the reward for finally reaching him will be worth it. Nobody ever made a film about a woman who felt calm. So let me try to give you what nobody gave me, which is a description of what the real thing feels like in your body. Because if you don't know what you're aiming for, you'll drift back to the chaos every time. Not out of weakness, but because the chaos is the only signal you know how to read. Real chemistry is quieter than you're expecting. It's a settling, not a spike. It's noticing halfway through the evening that your shoulders have come down from around your ears. It's sleeping properly the night after a date instead of lying awake rehearsing everything you said. It's not drafting a message 3 times before you send it. It's the strange, almost disappointing calm of not having to wonder where you stand because he told you, and then he kept behaving like it was true. It's boring in the way that solid ground is boring after you've spent a decade on a rope bridge. Your legs will genuinely miss the swaying. That doesn't mean the bridge was better. And I want to be honest with you about the middle part, because this is where most women turn back. When you start regulating, when your body stops running on alarm, dating goes quiet for a while. Sometimes it goes completely dead. You'll meet perfectly good men and feel almost nothing, and you'll panic and think you've broken something in yourself. That the healing cost you your capacity to love. You haven't. Your system is recalibrating. It spent years responding only to shouting, and now you're asking it to hear a normal speaking voice. That takes time. And the silence in between is not emptiness. It's the volume coming down so that something subtler can finally reach you. There's a grief in it too, and I don't think we talk about that enough. You're not just losing a type of man. You're losing a type of feeling, the intensity, the drama, the version of yourself who was capable of that much longing. That was real. You're allowed to miss it. But on the other side of that is a woman who can sit across from someone and actually assess him, who notices whether she likes him, not just whether he's chosen her, who can feel a man pull away and register it as information rather than as a wound that has to be closed immediately, who doesn't check her phone during dinner because there's nothing to check for. Unbothered isn't a personality you perform. It's what's left when your nervous system stops treating love as an emergency. And I'll tell you the thing that surprised me most, because I think it's the thing that finally makes this worth it. When the alarm quiets down, you don't lose your ability to feel deeply. You get it back. Because all that intensity you've been spending on monitoring, decoding, waiting, managing, that's enormous emotional capacity. You've just been aiming it at men who required it. Point that same capacity at someone steady, and what you get isn't less feeling. It's feeling that doesn't cost you anything to have. The work isn't learning to want less. It's teaching your body a new signal for yes, one that doesn't require fear to switch on. That's a retraining, not a personality transplant, and it happens in the small moments. The pause before you reply, the night you don't chase, the date where you notice you're calm and choose to stay curious about it instead of calling it boring. Start there. Start by catching yourself mid-spark and asking one question. Is this desire or is this alarm? You'll be shocked how often you already know the answer.